Bad morning, bad afternoon, bad evening, wherever you are in the world. It's the big one. It's Ange-r management against the Filth. Stay tuned. It is the morning after, the afternoon before. It's another North London derby defeat. Ange-r management is here to give you everything from Tottenham on Tour's perspective. And of course, there's one man and one man only that is the co-star of the show with me. And that would be Mr. Jonny H. How are we doing, buddy?
I think the dark glasses say it all, Brian. I'm in mourning. I'm not happy for the defeat, but like if you go into a battle and you tried your best and you come out battered and bruised, but you can look back at yourself and say, you know, we tried and did our best. I can accept it. Yesterday was unacceptable.
Yeah, it was on so many levels, which we are going to go into. Like I said, people, this isn't going to be a long, extensive as normal Ange-r management. I have a prior engagement with a scalpel and a surgeon, so
I think Spurs could do that.
Oh, do you know what? I wanted to go to sleep. I wanted to have my operation, get put to sleep, and be able to dream of a North London derby success. Well, now I've got a feeling I'm going to relive the failure. But let's say hello to everyone first of all. So we've got Kulu's elusive right foot. Big up to you, channel member Andrew Gregory. I hope you're good and well. Peter, big up to you, buddy. Colin Crossamano is in the building. Big up. Matty Kushner, how are we doing, sir? We have PH family. I hope you're good. And our very own Ben Kaufman is in the building. Darren Johnson has joined us. Active on Wembley. Who else is in it? Just a harmless potato. Brett, all the way in Australia. And I have to say, with that up, do you know the greatest thing that happened to me yesterday? Tweaky has joined the building. Kudos has joined the building. Ryan has joined. And my dear friend, Craig O'Sullivan and Ruby Tom 81 is in the house. Best thing that happened to me yesterday, Scotland Yard, packed as ever. Always good to be with the Toronto Spurs family. Go out half time to go get in some fresh air. The weather here has been boiling recently. Have a vape. Also, I get tapped on the shoulder. Hey, Brian, how you doing? In an Australian accent. I was like, I'm good. How are you? And he goes, just wanted to let you know, I watch you guys and We Are Tottenham TV religiously. We're big fans of yours. We love what you do about Levy. I have just landed 2 hours ago from Sydney. And the first thing I asked Pearson International Airport was, how do I get to the Scotland Yard? So it's like, it's amazing what happens when you do these channels and the people you reach to. So it's wonderful. But right, just so people, because I feel we have to do this because some people come in and don't get the premise of the show. We will talk about the negatives. And trust me, there are more negatives than positives today. We will talk positives, special mentions to players, and I think the special mentions will mainly be about how poor certain players were. And then talk on the big man himself. So, Jonny, let's get this show on the road.
Right, listen, look, guys, right, I'm not going to beat about the bush, right? I'm not saying I want Ange sacked in the morning, right? But, you know, come on. You know, a rebuild is where you start poorly and you start to see progression. Slowly progress, okay? We haven't had progression. We've had regression. We are going backwards. We are not going forwards. And, right, I'm going to read these stats out because I'm fed up listening to people dress it up. Okay, so this is our worst start in 9 years. We've had 3 wins in our last 11, those against Burnley, Sheffield United and Everton. We've only got 13 wins in our last 32 games, only 4 clean sheets in our last 33 games, only beaten one top 10, not top 4, not top 6, top 10 team since the 10th of December, and that was Villa, who ended up with 10 men. If you want a smaller snapshot, only 5 wins in our last 15 games, all against the bottom 5 teams: Sheffield United, Burnley, Everton, Luton. We've had 7 London derbies under Ange, not including Fulham. We haven't won one of them, right? Drawn 2, lost 5. 9 games winless against the top 6. And we have conceded the second most set-piece goals this year, 16, than any club in the league. And, you know, you cannot dress that up and bury your head in the sand and tell me I've got an agenda. That isn't an agenda. These are facts, right? They're not something I like to talk about. I would rather those stats read something completely different. And there will be those that will say the stats is only one element. I get that, and you're absolutely right. But the eye test is not passing the eye test. It's not passing any test right now, right? It's not passing anything. When I sit there and I watch, as much as I hate him, I sit and watch Ange stood next to Arteta on the touchline, and I see Ange with his hands in his pockets. The game's not going right. There's no conversation. There's no motivation. There's nothing. And yet next to him, on his side, is Arteta, kicking every ball, calling them over at every break of play, directing them, encouraging them, right? That's what I want my manager to do. Not tell me that this game doesn't matter. It's the same as any other game, or some of the tripe he talks after the game. I want him to succeed, but my God, if you don't change up and if you don't change this shit that's going on right now, okay, you will be gone. You will be gone. I don't want it to happen. I'm looking at that. What is the point of playing with wingers? What is the point of playing with wingers? No one went past anyone. No one whipped the ball in. You're going to say, oh, we had our chances. No. Arteta taught us a lesson yesterday. He played a great tactical game. Okay? They started that game all game. Little nudges. Every time we got a little bit of momentum, go down, stop the game, break the play. They were quite happy for us to have the ball, Brian. Have the ball wide. We know that Saliba and our 5, they went to 5-3-2 or 2 banks of 4. We had no chance of breaking them down. Our only chance to win that game yesterday was in that first 15 minutes when we had a couple of chances that they, from their mistakes, not from really our creation. And that was it. That was it. I've got more negatives, but Brian, go over to you because
no. Like I said, you give the stats. I'm going to try and keep this to the game. But I understand where these stats are coming from because obviously the tension, whether it be on social media, I don't know what it was like in the stadium yesterday.
Flat.
That's a worry in itself for a North London derby. That's a worry. If there's one game a season where that place should be rocking and absolutely like it was when we won 3-0.
To start, Brian, sorry, just to clarify here.
Yeah.
To start, when the trumpet came out, yeah. But even the actual stadium itself, 10 minutes, 8 minutes before the game, the DJ's playing tracks that are nothing to do with it. Get the ground pumping.
I thought they were stopping music. Did they not do that?
I don't know what they listen. All I know is 10 minutes to go. It was like there wasn't much going on. Look, go on, carry on, Brian. Otherwise,
listen. I don't know to begin with the negatives. I'll do. Do you know what? I'll start with. I put a tweet out saying, do you know what? Our players talk the walk, can't walk the walk. We have a leadership team that don't lead. That first 10 minutes, I thought we were outstanding. I thought, here we go. We're going to actually do something here.
It's a shame the game's 90, Brian.
Well, that's the thing. We want to play attacking football, but then when we do attack and get the ball, we got no one in the box, apart from Solanke, who's surrounded by defenders. But I don't understand the football we're playing right now. It's backwards, sideways, move forward 10 yards, backwards, sideways, sideways. I mean, I'm trying to save the players I want to go in on to special mentions because I will go in on a few of them.
You're talking about horseshoe football, Brian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you look at it as well, like you said. I really thought when Arsenal had Rice and Odegaard out, bang, you go smash them. They've had their heartbeat taken out. We'll go do it. They just plopped Partey in and Jorginho, and they just cracked on like normal. We lose our two best players or two of our key players. We fall apart. Everything is not right at Tottenham. Listen, we'll get to Ange. I'll talk about my feelings about Ange and where I stand with Ange. But we're so toothless up front, aren't we? We're toothless.
Brian, gutless, toothless, clueless, right? Where was the fight? Where is the fight? Tell me, because I don't know where the fight is. Why with Solanke 6'3", are you not crossing the ball in? Why are you not whipping the balls in from the flanks? There are so many questions. It doesn't work, right? How many games do you want to play, right? He is trying to reinvent the wheel, okay? Don't reinvent the wheel. Football can be a simple game, okay? The tactics do not work. And to say you've only got one tactic, like Thomas Frank, I mean, I've mentioned this to you before, right? I know a lot of people will think I'm mad, but I've always, like you, I've always rated Thomas Frank extremely highly, right? And I said to people that they would give City a really hard game on the weekend, and so they did. And when you see Pep Guardiola come out and say it's the hardest game he's played in years, it's because the guy thinks outside the box. He doesn't have one system. We're playing Man City. They're going to do this. We're playing Look, Arsenal played exactly the same as they played Man City away from home last season. They knew they were going to be. They played mind games with them, right? With Man City, and they sat back and they got the draw. Okay, but yesterday he was tactically out fault. He was out fault, mentally out fault, and when it's not going right, Brian, explain to me, right? If your son or someone in your family was doing something and you can see it's going wrong, would you really stand by on the sideline and let them just fall apart? No, you go, come over here, right? Look, this is what's happening. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. It's up to them. Sink or swim on your own. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I said to the guy next to me, you might as well leave 70 minutes. I said to him, you might as well leave. He said, why aren't you going then? I said, because I've got to wait for my son and he's not going to leave until the final whistle. I've never left the North London. I left the North London Derby yesterday on 93 minutes, 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't even feel guilty about it because I felt like I could sat there for 120 minutes. My
last North London Derby, I walked out at half time because I was so pissed off with it the season before. People, Kudos asked about Thomas Frank and didn't I wanted him before Ange. He was my number one pick that I wanted before we hired Ange. But let's get back to the guys. Ange's tactics. We can talk about Ange's tactics before we speak about Ange. It's not working, and the thing is, I do want him to stay, but he needs to fix up. He needs to change, and he needs to change rapidly. Because you can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing it. I was speaking on another channel yesterday, and I said, when Arsenal have key players out or other people have key players out that are fundamentally key to their style of play, they change the style of play because they don't have the players. We can't keep doing this. We cannot keep doing this. Another negative, I'll say, we didn't sign another midfielder because Gray and Bergvall were exceeding expectations. They've exceeded expectations so much they're on the bench.
Hang on, not even got a minute, Brian.
No, not yesterday.
Hang on, Gray didn't get a minute against Newcastle. £42 million. £42 million. I must have them. And you don't even, you know, we spent £72 million on Odegaard and Gray. Okay, give me Eze, give me a game changer. Give me a game changer in the game that we need now. If you're not going to play him, I actually rate Gray. But if you're not going to play him, why even have him in the frigging squad? Why? Why? And if you can explain to me yesterday's substitution of James Maddison, look, James Maddison needs space. James Maddison's best position is behind the front three or behind the front two, not as a deep line playmaker that's having to pick up the ball from the halfway line or off the back four. That's not his position. But why, when he eventually got taken off about 20 minutes too late, they bring on Timo Werner? Why? Why? It should have been Bergvall or Gray. Probably Bergvall.
First of all, just got a quick super chat in, so thank you, Rinketic. Because of a certain person, Frank, listen, I don't know who picks us. We are. Listen, that I can get to on another day when it comes to the owner of this football club. But yeah, like you said, Johnny, these players have come in. They don't start. Players go. Well, I don't understand Tottenham Hotspur right now.
No,
I struggle with a lot of things with Tottenham Hotspur, as in what the owners do, what's going on off the pitch, yada yada yada. But I'd always known what was going on the pitch. I was like, okay, don't worry, we're playing. We've got this. We'll play. At the moment, I don't know what we're doing because it's not working. It's not working. If you keep banging down the same door and it's locked, it's not going to open. You need to try another way to unlock it. And if we
good analogy, Brian, great analogy.
If we don't do it, I mean, I was looking at it. Obviously, we all know how big Coventry is. We'll get back to the Filth game in a minute, but Coventry is so important now. I mean, it was important beforehand, but now after that performance, you have to go out and win it. But now I'm worried about how many changes is he going to make? Are they right? Is he going to rest players or drop players? Mate, listen, I don't know where we're going. And you look at our next 4 away games. It's United, Brighton, Palace, City. But this game,
don't make me laugh.
And then there's Europa League in there. You look at it. This team, I would say that was pretty much our first strength team, minus Bissouma. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. There's just one other thing I wanted to say, Brian, that I'd forgotten that I said in the build-up to this game. Jared Gillett, okay, the referee yesterday. Now he refereed Arsenal Wolves, and I mentioned this in the build-up, and he refereed that game, and Arsenal were fuming, right? They complained to the PGMOL, right, about his refereeing and said he was awful. All the fans were kicking off about it. Anyway, you can imagine my surprise when 3 games later, think about how many referees there are, that this guy was now going to be refereeing Arsenal again 3 days after the last one. That's not normal. That's not normal, basically. And so I thought maybe he's going to make retribution and reward Arsenal. And I'm not going to make a big thing about it because it's not the overall reason. But 3 or 4 of those yellow cards yesterday were absolutely abysmal. And the one where Timber, who not only fouled Porro, but then runs to Vicario, grabs him with 2 hands by the shirt.
Yep.
And Vicario gets the yellow card. But
yeah,
the push on Romero, I think I'm not going to make a big thing about it, but I would say to you that in many occasions in the Premier League, if you run and then use 2 hands to push a player that goes forward and then you score the goal, that would have instigated a foul or a free kick, in my opinion.
I think
that's clutching at straws, though.
Yeah, mate, clutching at straws. But for me, that is Cuti Romero, who's known for this big hard man, this big tough as nails man, against Gabriel, it was like a little. Oh, can you get out of my way, please?
It wasn't a little one. It wasn't a little one.
Mate,
he ran into it.
It was handbags. It was handbags.
It's still a push, though, Brian. It's still a push in the back.
It's put it this way: if Spurs had scored that goal, we'd have been up in arms saying that's a goal.
You watch from now on. I can guarantee you, from now on, between now and the end of the season, watch how many times a push in the back. Gets cancelled. I'm not making an excuse because it isn't an excuse for yesterday.
Well, what you got to look at. Well, let's quickly talk about that, and then we'll try and move on to if there is anything positive. Arsenal came with a game plan, and it worked. They did it. They literally have the players. You're going to get one chance. I mean, Martinelli should have scored in the first half.
Yeah,
Vicario made a good save. But they're like, right, you're going to get one really bang on opportunity. Just make sure you're there to take it. They took it, and they're like, right, we're winning. Just hold, keep your shape. Just two banks of. They did it marvelously. They did it. They outcoached Ange. They outplayed Tottenham. It's 3 wins on the bounce there. The
first time in their history. First time in how many years? 100?
I think it's happened in the 50s. I think it happened in the 50s. 3 North London derbies home. But the annoying thing about this, Johnny, and it's a stupid stat, but it's driving me absolutely round the twist. Is what year did our stadium open? 2017, 18, or 19?
Yeah.
Well, whatever year it bloody well opened. Arsenal have already won more games at our new stadium than we have at the Emirates. And it's just a stupid stat. It's a stupid little stat, but our stadium's been open like 6-7 years. Their stadium's been open almost 20. And
mentality, Brian.
There you go, 2019. So
it's mentality. It's all about mentality, right? Their mentality. I've got to tell you, the one thing that shocked me, and it really angered me at the time, when they scored that goal, go look at it. Go and look at it on the television. I don't know if it's on Match of the Day or if you recorded it. Go and look back. The body language when that ball went in, it was like arms down, heads down. And I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with you? Where's the person like pumping them up? Come on, guys, it's only 1-0. Let's get back in the game. There was nothing. No Sonny, nobody firing them up. No Ange from the touchline calling them over. Come on, guys. Right? No, we carried on playing the same game. No substitutions, no change, no nothing. Eat, sleep, repeat.
Yeah, I mean, there is that. I mean, I will say the Scotland Yard was booming atmosphere-wise, but I heard a few people now tell me that the stadium atmosphere wasn't that great, but at the Scotland Yard, and I don't know if it felt this way at the ground, as soon as that corner was coming in, it was like, yep, here we go. This is the moment. Before the ball was kicked, it was like, yep, here we go. This is the moment they're going to sort of take advantage. One towering header. I saw a few people moaning about Vicario yesterday. What's you thinking of Vicario?
He's got to be stronger. He's no doubt got to be stronger. What I don't understand is when you know that you're playing a team whose greatest asset is set pieces, and they are fantastic. And they remind me of an American. I've said this many times. An NFL team. If you watch the NFL, set play, right? Special teams, right? And they do it every time. Now I'll tell you this, right? If you standing there, we got 9 players in the box, and they've got 6 players in the box. All 6 players are behind the Spurs players. If you stand in the street and 6 people run past you, would you be able to tell which way they're coming? No. Why have we got our backs to the players? Why are we letting them run past us? And the thing is, when you know that that's going to happen, what do? You try your utmost best not to give away corners. We gave away stupid corners after stupid corner, and you just knew it was a matter of time before one of them went in, and so it came to pass. And yet we got our corners. and they were the most pathetic corners. Little short corner, Kulu to Maddison. Oh yeah, they're really fooled with that one. They're really fooled with that one. Did we ever threaten them? No. Pathetic. Vicario, his confidence is just not there. You shouldn't be bitching about being pushed or what have you. Just get on there and own it. Peter Schmeichel, own the box. Own the box. Own it. Come out. And if you get fouled, if you come out and you go to get it and you get smashed, then you're going to win the foul. But if you stand on your line and start going, like this afterwards, it's not going to make any difference.
Yep. I mean, what we'll do, let's move on to probably the shortest part of the game.
Oh, that's very easy, Brian.
Positives.
The sun was shining.
Mate, honestly,
the sun had returned. That was it.
It is boiling here in Toronto. I mean, boiling. It's like summer again here in Toronto, which is lovely. Joe, was there any positives you saw at all?
Nothing.
You go as far as nothing?
Would you want to talk about possession? What does possession mean?
Barcelona,
the last team to compact a team like that in such a tight component space was Barcelona. There's only one difference, right? We don't have the players to play that system, and we are light years away from that. So whilst you might try to condense it, you got to have the tools to implement it, and we don't have any of them. So no, there was no positives, Brian, for me.
I'm just going to say, Griffin, this is.
Here we go.
No, this is just not. I mean, fans are the cause for players not concentrating. These guys on mega money a week spend their life wanting to play in the stadium. The stadium atmosphere is part of it. They know it's not always going to be champagne and Skittles, and when there's anger, there will be anger. They spend hard-earned money to travel up and down the country, whether it's home fans, away fans. I'm not just talking Spurs, I'm talking in general. These players are getting paid fortunes and never have to want for anything, whilst these people are using life.
You don't need to get personal abuse. Listen, Brian,
personal abuse is disgusting. What Brennan Johnson's going through and having that's
I don't like Brennan Johnson as a player, but personal abuse is not acceptable. But I think, my friend, you've missed the point. You've come in, right, halfway through, and you've heard Brian and I, mainly me, right, ranting, peed off with what's been going on, and you said, "Oh, look at these fans. This is a show about the game." And about the game and the game that we love and the club that we love. And when we see it's not going right, what do you expect us to do? I'm not going to put my head in the sand and pretend everything is hunky-dory when it's clearly not, right? We tried to find some positives. Unfortunately, this is a rarity for us, I think, Brian, that there isn't any.
Yep. I mean, if there was a positive, I would just say how brightly we started in the first 10, 15 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah. Okay.
That was, I honestly thought in the first 10 minutes, we looked really like probably the best we have done all season. We came out like we had the fight. We came out like we had the passion, desire, commitment to win. And then it just evaporated. But we're going to go on to those special mentions in a moment. And do you know what? Let's go through the team, Johnny. We'll go through the team one by one. But we've got a super chat first of all. The only positive is if we fire Ange and have less deadwood for a new manager to deal with, Odegaard will be the surprise of the season. Yeah, listen, I don't want to. If Ange goes, I think we're absolutely screwed. I honestly do, because we'll just repeat the process we do. And then what will happen, Michael, is we will come into the January window getting told that it is the hard window to get players. We won't get anyone. We'll have to wait till the summer, and we'll see. I mean, Ronnie, you think there's some more? You think there's some more positives? Put them in. Let me know what you think the positives were.
Absolute rubbish. Okay.
No, Ronnie's a good supporter of the channel. He comes in and people will have their views. Some people will say, Listen, I'm sure when we get to special mention, there's a couple of players that deserve very, very special mention.
Yeah, but we're talking about individuals as a collective. What was the positive in that?
That's the thing. I mean,
sorry, I'm lost.
Yeah,
lost.
But
was it the set pieces? Was it our set piece taking? Was it our creativity? Was it our setup? Was it our tactical noose? Was
sorry. No, he meant. Sorry, there you go, Ronnie.
Oh, right. I was sorry, Ronnie. I thought you were going to come up with something.
No, Ronnie would never come after. People see the game different ways.
No, obviously, Brian. Obviously,
Gary, I've seen your question. We do all questions at the end, buddy. So I have starred your question.
Right, go on. Let's start with Vicario. We've done Vicario, haven't we? There's no point.
Yeah, we've done Vicario. So Pedro Porro.
He's a right winger. He's a wing back. He's not an inverted play up front, leave massive holes behind him. I think the system exposes him time and time again. Not his play, but Martinelli was we had him on toast for a lot of that of the game. Listen, I just think he's a victim of the system. I've got to be honest with you. Going forward, I think he's the best crosser of the ball we have in the team. And I reckon if you had Jed Spence as our right back and him on the right wing, he'd be whipping those balls in. He's like Perisic, doesn't need to beat his man to whip a ball in. Yep. But, you know, he didn't have a great game. Martinelli did him a few times. But again, he wasn't the worst player on the pitch for me.
No, I think Porro actually played well. Yeah. I think he's one of our best players of the season already. I know it's only 4 games.
I like Porro. You know,
mate, we both do. We both didn't like him playing at right back, but last season he won us over. But he is asked to do. Him and Destiny are asked to do so much that it just caught up with him. So we move on to Cuti Romero. After you, Johnny.
Listen, I know he's going to get the blame for us losing. You got to look at the bigger picture. I'm sorry, I'm not having it. First of all, right, typical Spurs, typical Levy, had to pay for his own ticket and sort out his own way home from an international game. I mean, I've never heard such nonsense in my life. Clubs lay on private jets to fly them home. And I'll be honest with you, right? If you haven't flown long haul, I have, and Brian has, and I'm sure a lot of you have. When you come back on Thursday or Friday, believe me, you're still feeling it 2 days later. Well, I certainly am, right? And that's even if you're flying not private, but if you're flying business or flying premium economy, whatever, you still feel it. Nothing gets away from it. And it was also reported he wasn't well and he had a fever. Now, is it not the manager's job to say, my centre-back's got a fever? What do I do? Oh, hang on a minute. Did we not buy another centre-half who's good in the air called Radu Dragusin, right? Well, why don't you start him instead of blaming him, right? He should have done better, right? It wasn't the biggest push, but it was a push in the back. What's Dragusin got to do with it? I'm just saying, if he wasn't well, why didn't he play him? He got 2 fantastic tackles in, but everyone now thinks because of the interview that his head's already in Madrid. And if it's to be, then it's to be. But every mistake he makes, his value's going down and he's got less chance of going to Madrid. So I think that story just doesn't wash with me. If you want that move, you've got to perform.
Yeah, so I think it was poor yesterday. I really do. And he has been at fault or around the areas where the goals are being conceded. Not saying that he's solely to blame for it.
Newcastle.
Not saying that he's solely to blame for it, but he has not been the. Cuti Romero goes away with Argentina. He's magnificent. He last season he was magnificent for Spurs. Before I go for it, he was magnificent for Argentina in the Copa America. Watched it very closely this summer, and he's come back, and we all know how good he can be. We all know how fantastic he can be. He's just not right, and I do agree. If he had a fever, I hear when I say why are the managers letting these players play when they're not fully fit, and sometimes they'll say to me, well, maybe the player's telling the manager that I'm good to go, I'm ready. Surely if you got a fever, you don't play. A manager can tell. You just put a thermometer in. Yep, your temperature is up. Out you go. So he should he have been playing yesterday? No. Did he play? Yes. Was he brilliant? No. But talking of brilliance, Mickey Van de Ven is an angel. Is a footballing angel. He is just. He comes back, has a little injury against Newcastle. We didn't know how serious it was. Trains for 2 weeks, comes in, bang. I'm Mickey Van de Ven. Leave this to me. This guy is a very, very special defender. A very, very special defender. And if it wasn't for him, it could have been more yesterday.
Yeah, it was a couple of moments where he came right across from the other side of the pitch to come in and wrestle the ball away. Listen, he's a special talent. But what worries me is if you remove him from this team, the system doesn't work anymore. And what system is there in world football where you remove one of the 11 and it all falls apart? Okay, so
don't put it out there in the ether, people. Don't put it out there about me. Listen, Mickey Van de Ven is just absolutely
just got to improve his heading. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing to say that for someone who's 6'4", right? But his heading needs to be a little bit better. But every other component of it, and for his age, fantastic. He's only going to get better, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Gary, you know my feelings when it comes to a certain ownership. This continues to happen, and it continues to happen, and it will do until we can get them out.
Is he talking about buying players from Burnley, Bournemouth, Leicester, Forest? Yeah, rather than buying top players. The last major signing this club made was Rafa van der Vaart, and that was, can you tell me what year that was?
2006,
5?
Oh,
no
2012, 11. When did Rafa?
Remember now. But that was probably our last wow signing, and even he was at the end, towards the end of his career. But what an impact he made!
He wasn't even go Destiny.
Well, I thought Destiny was fantastic yesterday. He had one moment where he let Saka through early in the first half. But other than that, Saka wasn't involved in the game. Saka was quiet the whole of that game. And that was, I feel, due to Destiny, marking him out and looking after him. So, he's such a dangerous player. And I think he more or less snuffed him out yesterday. So, and remember, he's just coming back from a long time out as well, in case you all forgot.
Yeah, he's come from a long time. He did okay. He either does very well attackingly and not so good defensively, or he does really good defensively and he's very limited attacking wise. And yesterday was one of he kept Saka quiet, but did nothing else.
Well,
and you could say keeping Saka quiet is a
that's a feat in itself, right?
So right, here we go. Midfield, Bentancur.
I don't think it was just him. I just think I expected, when you saw 32-year-old Thomas Partey, 32-year-old Jorginho, in the middle of the park. I expected Sarr to start with legs. And I don't know. I expected to see. I think I expected to see Sarr and him. He wasn't great. It wasn't one of his best games. I thought the yellow card was poor. He started the game really, really well.
Yep.
And he was really having an influence on the game. And then what happened was when he got that pathetic booking for literally nothing towards the end of the first half, his game sort of changed a bit. I mean, for the goal, the 63rd minute goal, he was there. He was in sort of no man's land, really, for that. I mean, I know Romero was the one that got the push, but he even went to go for the header, completely missed it, and he was in front of Gabriel. He didn't even see Gabriel. But overall, he was not one to chastise for a poor performance, I don't think, in that game yesterday. Although he was the first to come off. I was quite surprised at that, to be honest. Whether that was because he was on a yellow card, I'm not sure. But no, for me, it was a decent game, not a memorable game.
Yeah, I think Bentancur started well and faded very quickly. And that could be the last we see of him for a little while. But Super Chat, once again, from Azad, once again, I'm asking where Big Ange's 350 million went. The squad is shocking. I'm sorry, Ange has to go, not good enough and out of his depth. Jonny?
I've said I think this could be possibly the worst talent ID since Steve Hitchin.
Yeah.
Okay. We sold Harry Kane and we spent 47 million on him, on Johnson. I won't bore you with them all, but for me, I mean, I wanted Brian Mbeumo 2 years ago. I wanted Gordon. I remember when Everton played us, they were absolutely shocking, and this young kid was standing out, chasing every ball. I think our talent ID has been shocking since they sort of forced out Gabbanini and forced out Fabio into the sidelines. So Fabio in the sidelines and what's them gone. But Munn and Lange have come in, and I've had to listen to this drivel that, you know, oh, they're taking us to the next level. He'd already improved the squad, no end. Fabio, yeah, I agree. I think I think, you know, why would you bring in Werner? Would you have bought Solanke? I hope Solanke goes on to score 30 goals. But for me, I would have had Gyökeres. There would have been other players that I could have thought of. I would have bought Alvarez. I would have bought Gyökeres. You know, I'm not even going to go there. Just to say, actually, that some of the players he's got rid of, I'm not so sure about the way he's treated them either. I see Troy Parrott. Did he score 4 goals or 5 goals?
4 goals, but that's some of the players we bought in have been good. But once again, as we always say, we need quality, not just youth. I keep getting told when we buy things, it's in 2 years this team will be good. In 2 years this team will be good. I've started to work out that we've started to build teams. Like I think, like I said to you behind the scene, if we had this back five, if we went to a back five right now and had Kulu and Son inverting like they did with Conte, and Conte was here, not saying I want Conte back, right now, this team with Conte, it'd be soaring.
So would Poch, so would Mourinho.
This is what happens. So 2 years later, 2 years' time, we'll have an Ange team for whatever manager is here. And that's what we do now. But getting back to the team, and thank you for the super chat. You're good, buddy. Right, James, I run my mouth but talk very. I run my mouth but don't deliver. Maddison.
Listen, Brian, you know I've been talking about this for months on end. You know, 4 goals all season. Okay, 4 goals last season. He's just not doing it. Okay, he needs. Right. He needs midfield space, right? For Leicester, he played further forward, behind the front, putting balls, breaking lines, creating. This system does not suit him. He's picking up the ball deep. He is not a deep line playmaker. He has got no upper body strength. He's going down every 2 minutes. He flatters to deceive. He's got all the posture. Look at this. Look it up. Look at me. Look at me. Pass back. Pass forward. Pass sideways. Right? 5 yards. 8 yards. 2 yards. Right? Okay. No. Take risks. What happened to Ange's always take risks? Never be afraid to take risks. If they don't come off, we move, we carry on, and we go again. Take risks. There's no risks. He didn't take risk. He doesn't take risks. Some of the crossing into the box was absolutely shambolic again yesterday, right? And there was a moment in that second half where there was a gap that opened up. Shoot! Fucking first time, hit the ball. This is the Premier League. You can't have 3-4 touches at the edge of the box. One, bang, take a shot. There's a reason why Morgan's, Gibbs, White, and all the others are ahead of him right now in the England team, because he's light years away from the player that we saw at Leicester. The system doesn't suit him, and I think if you had a different manager that understood him and played to his strength, I'm not going to tell you he's overnight he's a shocking player, but he is definitely not suiting this system. Look back at all the videos. Look where he plays. No, listen, James, right? He's not a deep line playmaker, mate. He never has been.
I'll say
the system. That's what I'm saying. That's the system.
Look, when it comes to Maddison, I've said it time and time again. Maddison is a player that should be asking players to move out his fucking way. You're part of the leadership team. You're meant to be the chief creator. If Ange asks you to say, you get advanced enough to be able to see what's going on. And I kept saying this with Harry Kane when Harry Kane went missing, and when our world-class players that we had don't stand up. If the team is doing nothing, don't wait for the ball. Go get the ball and grab the game by the scruff of the neck.
Right.
Do you know what? I ain't doing this. I ain't putting up with this. Playing like this, a Patrick Vieira, a Tony Adams, a John Terry, a Julian Diggs, I can go on with big-time players. Rio Ferdinand, that weren't even captains, that would not stand for this and go, right, give me the goddamn ball. This is how we're going to play. I'm going to make something happen. He just doesn't do it. He likes to run his mouth. Listen, I said I wanted Eze over him like the summer before. Maybe if he was played a bit more forward, he would get more involved. But I'm sorry for he had 10 games where he was outstanding. He got injured. And then what, for the last 8 months or how, sorry, not 8 months, 5 months of the season and the beginning of this isn't down on where he's playing. This is his form. And James Flower will know, and many people in this chat will know, my friend Wayne Holland, who is a Leeds Leicester fan, said, when you sign him, he'll be shit hot, but once he loses form, gets injured, he'll go missing for XYZ amount of time. And he was Leicester's key player. And he was doing it for Leicester then. He's doing it for us now. When he's on fire, there is no one better. There is no one better. Or that, you know, we're certainly within the club, but he's a rival for anyone or a match for anyone. He's not that player at the moment.
So another year ago, Brian, isn't it? It was a year ago that was.
Exactly. They come to this club at the peak of their powers, or at the peak of the powers, but they're on their way down. And he is not the same player we bought from Leicester. He's not the same player from the first 10 games. And I don't even know if a change in manager or style would change that. And if it was me, personally, I'd drop him in a heartbeat. Because you should have been coming off. They're not getting into the England squad and saying, right, this season, I'm going to show you. I'm going to make every single manager doubt me. That doubted me wrong. I'm going to force my way back into the England squad.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't. He's flattering to deceive or deceiving to flatter, whatever which way you want to look at it.
Can I just add, Brian? Can I
Yep.
just add to this, right? You know, in his defence, right, in those first 10 games, okay, they didn't really understand the system, the opposition. But as soon as they worked out the system and worked out flood the midfield, it's like a vacuum packed seal that no one can move. It's like Piccadilly Circus there. He's got no room to operate. So he's got no choice. Even going back to the second game against Brentford last season, he was having to come deep. And the pundits were going, oh, look how intelligent he is. He's coming deep, picking up the ball. It wasn't as compact there, but they've sussed it out. And whilst that midfield's packed, he can't operate. And I do believe if you had a different manager who came in, who understood his strengths and him being there, yeah, this is it. Yeah, I mean, Craig's spot on. There is no room. There is no room. And the manager should be seeing that his main creative player doesn't have any room to operate and doing the rest.
You're right, Craig. You're right, but I'll tell you what, we're going to go through the rest of the place quickly. Then, Ange, I have got 8:15. I've got about 20 minutes until I start getting ready for the hospital. So, Kulu.
I think Kulu didn't have a bad game. He faded in the last 10 minutes, but, you know, at least he was trying to make things happen, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, again, when he played centrally, he looked good. Went out wide later in the game, trying to make things happen, fouled. But that long-range shot that he took right near the end that just went over, more of that, please. I want to see, not just from him, from all Spurs players.
From all of them.
So that right front line, Brennan, let's get Brennan out of the way.
Who?
Let's deal with Brennan.
Oh, he did have a shot, Brian. He did have a shot, but it was like a Sunday morning. It was like the guy who's played right back, and you're asking him, "Could you please play right wing?" And he saw a sight of goal, and he didn't know what to do. Listen, oldest one in the book, get over the ball. He should at least have that shot on target as a minimum. I'm not saying he should have scored, but he should have been on target. And, you know, when you're trying to make a save from the angle, it can deflect it, what have you. Look, he didn't have a great game. Let's be honest. He didn't have a great game.
No, I mean,
I'm not going to say any more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I've I defend him. I still think there's a player there, and it's getting harder. But why was it? It was not the best against for him. In fact, I think he needs a spell coming on as an impact sub. I think
he looks better doing that, doesn't he?
He does. It will raise his confidence. But what I will not, it just goes to show how sad, not just Spurs fans, just football fans or people in general, actually life in general, the fact that the guy has had to disable his Instagram because of personal abuse being sent his way.
Yeah, it's not right.
It's just that's beyond that's crossing the line severely and won't do him any good whatsoever. I don't know what anyone gets out of it apart from thinking they're clever and hard, trying to make personal abuse at him, which is not on. But we'll move on from that. Dominic Solanke.
Well, he hasn't played in a month. He had one game in a month. He did all right. He had a sort of a header. He got his head on. A nice little flick with the ball that came across, I think, from Kulu, where he flicked it. Other than that, right now, I mean, listen, let's be honest. He doesn't right this second look at 25 goal a season merchant, does he? Or a 65 million pound player. But I'm not going to judge him on a game against Leicester, which is his first game and no training, and a game just coming back from injury during an international break. But he could do with some service.
He could do. He could do. I think some of his hold-up play was good. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was doing when he got the ball, when he had that chance in the first half. I think the element of surprise of us breaking their press or our press breaking their highlight.
3 touches, Brian. First touch.
Yeah, he
bang.
should have got it out of his feet quicker. He should have got it out of his feet quicker. But then we put the crosses in and he's not there, or he is there, but there's 4 people around him because no one else goes into the box. So we'll see. But right, we've got one more player. Thank you very much indeed, Ryan, buddy.
Only one.
Hyun-min Son. Yeah, I'm not going to see if we go into subs and everything. I want to do Hyun-min Son. Then we're talk Ange for 15 minutes. Then I've got to get ready.
He's a fading light. He's a fading light, unfortunately. He didn't impose himself on the game. And I got to be honest with you, did he look like a captain out there? I love Sonny, club ambassador, great, but not a captain, not a leader for me. Sorry. He's been a fantastic servant. I wanted him to come when he came from Germany. I was so excited when he came. And, he struggled at the beginning and then we saw the player that saw in Germany. And he's been amazing, a fantastic servant. But our eyes are not deceiving us at this present moment. And again, is it Ange's system that's a disservice to him? Or is it his star is beginning to fade? He can't beat his man. I worry about Sonny. I do.
Well, Sonny, you got to look at him now. What is he, 32? We need to. There needs to be time where we start looking for his replacement. Not saying for him to come in and be the replacement immediately and straight away. He can't play all the games.
He should have been off. He should have been off that pitch.
Well, it looks like Ange's asking him to hug the touchline, and that's not what Sonny does. Sonny doesn't hug the touchline. Sonny should never hug the touchline.
No.
And then I saw him pop it up in the second half on the right wing, trying to get the ball because he wasn't getting any service on the left wing. So he was one player getting the ball, but he was just so quiet. He was so quiet. Listen. Vernon's the other option, or Odegaard. He's not started this season well. He had the very good game against Everton. Obviously, he got the 2 goals. Let's face it, Everton was it was like an exhibition match
against the very, 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 very poor, open, poorly defending Everton team.
This is the worst Everton team I've seen, and I've seen some bad Everton teams. But do you know what? Let's get on to the man himself. Off you go, Johnny.
I think I said it at the beginning. Look, why were you going on and on about how great Bergvall was and how Archie Gray were? We go on tour. You got Archie Gray playing as a centre back. You got Oliver Skipp playing as a centre back when you're not even going to play him. That's not preparation for the system. You go on about how great they are. Bergvall's had probably 15 minutes in 4 games, something like that. Archie Gray hasn't seen a minute in the last 2 games. I mean, how is this? He must be watching this. Dragusin, what's he get? I mean, he got a game because Mickey van der Ven was out. He's not even getting a minute. He's not even coming on. And as for Jed Spence was offered a deal for first team football at a good club, not in this country, but a good club where he was definitely going to play. And Ange stopped him going and said he wants him and he wants him to play and he's an important player, blah, blah, blah. The window closes and he's out the European games. He's out the European squad. Not only is he out the European squad, he's not even coming on for a fresh pair of legs to replace Porro, even for the last 10 minutes for a bit of fresh leg. I question his tactics. I question his substitutions in the reading of the game. I thought yesterday Bergvall and Archie Gray had to come on. I really did. I really do not get it at all. What did we have to lose? We weren't unlocking anything. We weren't doing anything. We weren't creating anything. Let youth reign. Throw them into the mix. I love Bergvall, right? 6'2", left foot, right foot, fantastic periphery vision, where he's already passing the ball before he's received it because he scanned the area, right? He's not like Maddison and these 3 or 4 touches, wants the, showboat on the ball. And Archie Gray, he reminds me of a young Isco, right? Maybe that's, a
big
too higher.
Hopefully not the Arsenal Isco.
No. But that's what he reminds me a bit of with his ball control. But what's the point when he's sat on the freaking bench? I don't get it. I don't understand the zero leadership from the side of the pitch, the intervention when things aren't going right. There's nothing. I want my managers. I'm not saying I want windmills like Arteta, dancing up and down the pitch, frothing at the mouth. I'm not asking for that, but I'm asking for something. And, the excuses and some of the stuff coming out of these post and pre-match press conferences are becoming frustrating. And my final thing I'd like to ask is, does he have a fascination with floors? Has he got OCD, and is he always cleaning floors? Because he always seems to be, on the ground looking for bits of dirt. I can't think of any other reason why he constantly looks at the bloody floor. He just needs to change it up. Come on, Ange. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, guys? I got it wrong. I'm going to change a couple of the things up. But he doesn't. He adds the fuel. He's putting the fuel on his own fire. I'm going to win something. I always win something in my second season, right?
Yeah.
I don't need a set piece coach. I don't work on that sort of stuff. It's not a concern to me. These are all things which, when you say them and nothing changes, you're putting the fuel on your own fire. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Ange, he needs to look now. He needs to really address certain situations, because when something doesn't work once, you can kind of let it go and go, right, we can work on this, we can sort this. Then when you do it 2-3 times, when it repeatedly happens, I've seen many YouTubers across many football teams, many platforms, they go home and away to all their games. And there's certain games where they're like, just play my interview back from this game last season. And it's exactly the same. I'm not just talking Spurs fans, I'm talking AFTV. I've seen it on Chelsea. I've seen it on many channels where they're like, why is this keep happening? There is a problem and it needs addressing. And it's very clear to see what our problems are. And the thing is, if Ange tweaked it and Ange tried it, just literally, I know he's stubborn, he's a man of his word, or he a man of his principles, and he believes what. I get that. I think that's a wonderful trait to have. But when it comes to
not in football,
that's where I was going, Johnny. This is the thing. You've got to, if something's wrong, it's papering over the cracks at the moment. It doesn't matter what we do. There seems to be a way. Even if, like I said, and I've said it, I think, on every Ange management and a lot of streams I go on, when we're under pressure, drop back for 5 minutes, soak up the pressure, get under control of the game again, and go again. There needs to be, if I want Ange to succeed, I want Ange to go on and see out his contract. Do I think he will? Not a chance. Do I think? And the only reason I say that right now, the only reason I'm like this is because I keep saying Tottenham Hotspur can't keep doing this every single time.
I think we're in agreement there.
Hiring. We're going to run out of managers to hire. And then it's a change of tactics. Then it's new transfer budgets. Then it's this. Then it's that. Even if we got rid of Ange, the next manager that comes in, the people that want Ange out, and listen, if people want Ange out, I am totally fine with that. I'm not going to say, oh, you're wrong, you're stupid. I'm not doing any of that.
Can I just say, sorry, Brian, just to interject here, right? I know I'm listening and I'm ranting about Ange. I don't want Ange out today. I want him to change today
Yeah.
and accept that there's things and tweak the system, because I'm like you. If we get rid of him again, it's gonna be another rebuild, another start again. And like I've seen so much of it. This club is just a manager's graveyard.
Yeah, but as I was about to say, if the next manager comes in, whoever it may be, we have to. I will say again, I won't turn my back on him. But if the next manager comes in, you have to give him the time of his contract. We don't get anywhere with doing this, apart from 18 months in, we start a civil war with each other because, like, I want the board out, you want the manager out, you want this player out. We go back round and round and round. But things he's got to fix up quick. Gutted post, NLD, but thanks for the support for the hike. Yeah, well done, Phil, on your charity hike. He completed it on Saturday.
Looked fabulous. Looked fabulous.
He did, and he raised a lot of money, so fair play. Right, we're going to go through the questions we've got, Johnny.
Can I just say one thing, right? I was going to say, do you know how bad it was yesterday, Brian? I saw, first of all, I saw two fights breaking out between our own supporters.
I saw one.
Two. And then when I was coming out, and I think it was the 92nd, 93rd minute, I was coming down the steps. There was two guys right next to me. They started and they were literally starting a fight, and it was right next to me. And I thought, you know what? This is pathetic. This is pathetic. That's how bad it's got, that we are fighting amongst ourselves and we're 4 games in. That's how toxic it is at Spurs right now, unfortunately.
Well, listen, I mean, that's with this fan base. This fan base have been, they will moan at anything. And they will argue with fans. Like I've said, I could say tomorrow's Tuesday, and people will say, no, it's not, it's Wednesday. Just to argue.
It's Wednesday, isn't it? Brian, I think you're wrong. It's Wednesday tomorrow.
No, don't get me twisted, because I know my mate. But yeah, we've just got to the point. This keeps carrying on. We can't agree if we want the manager in. We can't agree if we want the owners out. We can't agree if we want this guy to play. We can't agree if we should play a back 3. We can't agree if this player should be bought. That member of staff should be sacked. These people should be playing concerts. These people should be the NFL teams. Should I go on a skywalk? Should I go on an F1? Which one's our new planet? Our new strategic partnership? Everything is an argument. It's fun being a Spurs fan. Right. Craig put that. Yeah, you're right. We discussed that. Okay, Gary, I saw you mention this question quite a few times. Like I said, people that don't know, we put the questions at the end. But hello, Brian, Johnny. Quick question: are we at a crossroads with Ange? If we lose Wednesday night in the cup, is his position untenable? Johnny,
I don't think he'll get sacked if we lose against Coventry, but I think it will be under severe pressure. But I think the biggest pressure is going to come from Brentford, Man United, and Brighton games, and Man City games. I think I can't see much coming right now. Let's pray. I'm going to Coventry on Wednesday for my sins, so hopefully he wins, and it's the start. He can't afford to lose this game. Hopefully, it's the start of the rebuild. But he's going to need to win a few games on the bounce now to get the confidence and the fans back on side.
Listen, all I will say with this game, and we're going to go through these questions quickly because I've got 7 minutes. I don't think. Listen, if we lose this and we go out of a cup at the first stage again, I think there's trouble. And it will be totally unacceptable. And that's not disrespecting Coventry, who are a damn good team and could have took Manchester United, or should have taken Manchester United's place in the FA Cup semi-final. But what I will tell you, and I wish I could put money on this, if we do lose to Coventry, should we lose? I've been saying on Twitter, you watch how all of a sudden someone in the board or someone that was going to run that fans forum will tragically have had some lasagna the night before, and that fans forum will have to be rearranged because we lost to Arsenal and then we went out of a cup to Coventry. I guarantee you, if we lose to Coventry, that AGM doesn't happen. There will be a potsy excuse by the ownership to say, yeah, we can't make this one now because things aren't all, and it will show the board up for what they really are.
All responses will be done by Chat GPT.
By the way, anyone going to that fan forum, if you have my telephone number, please give me a call. I would like to ask
or
a question.
Mine.
Yeah, put me on a video call or call me. I would love to ask a question to Levy. Phil P, why does Sonny never take on his fullback?
Because he doesn't have any pace anymore. That's it.
I think he's still got the. I think his confidence. He's being asked to do what he doesn't do.
Is he 32 or 30? Sorry, Brian. Is he 32? I know because in Korea the age is different. Is he 31 but technically 32, or is it the other way around?
Hyun-Min Son currently he's 32 for listen, let's just say he is 32. He is 32 years old.
32-year-old winger?
Yeah.
32-year-old midfielder? 32-year-old defender? 32-year-old striker? Wingers, it's a little bit more difficult, I believe. That's my personal opinion.
There you go. Okay, another one. Jonny. He just asked Sava this question, so God knows what Sava said, because obviously we've been on this. Does Ange choose the players, or he tells the club the type of players he wants?
Right, so they decide en masse as a group as to the type of player that they need. Then they go out. Scott, I'm not in football, Munn and Lange, and they come back with the players that have been identified, and he chooses the ones or the one that he wants from that group that's been selected. So this is why I'm saying I do not rate his talent ID. I'm sorry, I don't. Okay. When I think about each of the positions that we bought, I could have thought of better. That's me, but I'm not, I'm not a football manager. It's just an opinion. I used to coach kids. Far, far different from professional management. Watch too much football, though.
Right, got two more questions. I feel so done with the club. Any advice how to be positive? Rinketic, just the good times will come. The good times will come.
Watch Manchester City.
That's not about. And then, for me, there is only one man. There is only one man, should it be, and anyone else is a failure. Amorim from...
Amorim and Frank for me. Amorim and Frank.
Yeah, Thomas Frank won't come to us.
No, but I mean, listen,
I don't think Amorim would come for us. Yeah.
Well, my first three choices before when Conte left was Gallardo, Slot, and Amorim. Okay, because I didn't think the club were too snobby to go from Conte to Thomas Frank, and I rated Frank then. But of those players, there's only Amorim left, in my opinion. If Gareth Southgate comes to the club, which he won't, then you might as well pack up and leave town. So I'm hoping for Amorim or Frank. Let's hope we don't have to go there.
Correct.
I mean, I spent the time going on about Ange, and this fan base. If you say such a thing, then it's obvious that you want Ange out. No, I want Ange to succeed. I want Ange to change what's going on and accept that he hasn't got it all right and it's not working. And be the big man, hold your hands up. Instead of going on every interview, I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in what I say. I believe in my philosophy. Well, you can stick your head, you pull your head like an ostrich out the ground and look at it and say, it's not all working.
Yep. I mean, I will finally say before we wrap up, I've seen a few people, and I'm going to drop a spoiler alert in it, and I've seen, where is it? Ben has said M14, M14, M14. People that don't live in England or know England postcodes, M14 is Southgate, as in Gareth Southgate. I shall tell you, if a Southgate lands if a Gareth Southgate lands at Hotspur Way, a Dagul will land at Heathrow Airport to stand outside said Hotspur Way and won't go until the job is done. I will guarantee that. But Jonny, we're going to wrap it up there.
It's a wrap.
First of all, brother, it's always a pleasure doing this with you, brother. As you know, for the next few weeks, or a couple of Ange-r managements, you'll have one of the other guys. But Jonny, where can people find you?
Brian, as you're not there, is it not possible that Ben or whoever comes in could actually wear a Brian Dagul mask? I'm sure we can get one.
I mean, no.
At least I feel like I'm looking at the same person.
We'll see what we can do. We'll see what to do. Where can people find you, Jonny?
Jonny H3232 on X, and Let's Talk Tottenham 1882 on TikTok and Instagram. And on Thursday, I'm making my first appearance. Brian gave birth to me, you see. Brian gave birth to me on this channel. But I do sometimes hold myself out.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. And I'll be on Last Word of Spurs on Thursday. So if you are around, I appreciate the support. That's my debut on that. But Brian, this is my home. Always will be. Thanks very much for having me on. And good luck with your operation.
Thank you very much.
I take it you're going to sound very different.
I don't know. I'm hoping I'm going to sound like I'm going to be able to sing and have a multi-platinum selling album in the upcoming months. But guys, listen, that's where you can find Jonny. As people know, I will be off for a week or two now. I am going literally to the hospital from here to have an operation. And then the recovery is going to be but you might see me come on in a week's time or so. I might have a Harry Kane mask on or something, but we shall see. But guys, listen, thank you very much indeed for tuning in. Evening Brews will be carrying on. Morning Brews will be there. I will be back as soon as I pass my fitness test. Thankfully, I'm not having to rely on the Spurs medical team. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, Levy out.
Come on, you.